In previous videos, we talk about the ingress controllers, Let's Encrypt, Cert Manager, Google's DNS, and we talk about our Kubernetes cluster, how it's set up, and integrated GoDaddy to the DNS, Google's DNS. And this video, we will talk about how to create a simple um, Helm chart application and deploy it within the 2 minutes and make it up and running. So what I will need to do, I will need to just go to my command line and create the Helm chart. So let me create the Helm, create Artemis, for example. So when I run this command, it will create for me Helm chart. So as soon as I create it, you can see that within my home directory, within the root directory, it did create charts folder, templates, Helm ignore, charts.yml, values.yml file. So why we need all those files? So we need all those files to be able to deploy our manifest within the one package. So charts.yml file will store the metadata of my chart. So yes, please install it. So values.yml is the main configuration YML file. So when we run the Helm install when upgrade, it's actually going to this directory and then updating some values. It will do the referencing to the values. For example, ingress image repository nginx. So you can see that this is actually data, right? So that data will go to, for example, in case of image, right? So it's going to the values image repository. So and then for the tag is going to the values image tag. So if I will go to values and then image tag is stable, so which means deployment will be the nginx and stable. So and then you can see that the values is the main location where the values, all values will be referenced inside each your Kubernetes manifest. So what I mean by that, so when I run, for example, when I will deploy the actual application, it will go to my templates and then run the Helm things and then change all these values to the right value, which is put it inside values.yml. So for example, deployment will on the specification replicas, you can see that the replica set will be replicas will be referenced from the values in the replica count. So you can see that if I will open that file, and then you can see that exactly that replica count will be referenced into this file, and then it will change this one to the actual one right there. So if I will change this to 3, and the application will deploy the replicas 3 with the one deployment. All right. So you can see that this replicas and the image itself is for deployment. So name override and the full override is if you want to override the Helm chart itself, you can just specify the name. So in our case, the Helm chart's name is Artemis. So I can confirm if I will open the charts, and you can see the name is actually the Artemis. So let me go ahead and explain what a service. So on the service, to be able to, on the previous example, we, for example, deployed a pod, service, ingress, and then so on, right? So to be able to publish your application, you have to, of course, deploy the service. So in this case, we have a service type cluster IP. So we will keep it is, we don't touch it, and we will use the port is 80. So the target port, let me clarify the target port. What is the target for the deployment? So the deployment is port is container port is using 80. So and this let me go ahead. So see the target port for the service. So if I will open the service and target port is HTTP, so it just works for us. So it's hitting this 80, and then the service itself will be the port 80. So if I will replace this, it will go ahead and change the value inside the service and the port. You can see that, right? Values.service and the port. And if I would like to change it, only thing what I have to do, I have to just change it right there. It will replace it inside my service. So we will do small configurations. So basically what we're gonna do, let me disable the deployment. We don't care for now. So you can see that I have an ingress enabled to true. So what does that mean? So why we need enable it true and false, right? In this case false, sorry. So if I will open my ingress, at the top you can see that I'm running if Helm is running the if condition, is checking if the value is ingress enabled is exist, which means if you enable it, which means in our case we will enable it. If you enable it, use the actual all deployments. It will deploy the actual the Helm the ingress itself. All right. So in previous video we talked about the ingress kind, and then we specified annotations, if you remember. So we will do the same process. We will copy this annotations, and we will put it exactly that annotations into our Helm chart and use that for the future deployment. So for example, right now, let me do the spacing, make sure the space is correct. Yeah, it's 2 spaces. So the path will be stay, we don't care. The hosts, so the actual the host, if you remember on previous deployment, what we did, we deployed the app1 hosted kubernetes.com, right? In this example, what we're gonna do, we will replace it exactly the application name with the Artemis. So application name will be the Artemis, right? Artemis, all right. So, and do we want to make it HTTPS within the one deployment? Why not, right? Let's deploy the application like a previous setup. We deploy it. So let's deploy it. So in this example, you can see that we specified on the previous video, we specified the HTTPS, and application was up and running with the HTTPS connections. All right. And then how do you want to call the secret name? Of course, it's going to be the example TLS, Artemis TLS. So, and then HTTPS will be the connection. All right. If I would like to, I mean, that should be it for our changes. If you would like to do this more advanced configurations, or do your own stuff, only thing what you have to do, you have to create your manifest and put it in this directory, and then customize it, and then copy paste examples. What I will suggest you do, if you will need to do the more customizations, I will definitely suggest you go to walk through the documentation from the Helm chart. I will put it in the description on this video. I will 100% sure, I will suggest you go to the documentation, follow up with that documentation, and then copy paste example. You should be able to figure out that. So in this example, you can see that we enable the ingress, and the ingress will be created. So you can see that if statements will be happen, and then it will use all these values, and then create actual ingress for us. So when the ingress has been created, we will use the annotation and nginx and let's encrypt from the previous deployment, from previous video. So only thing what I care is I have to just deploy it. I don't have to do anything else. That should be ready. So let me go ahead, let me go to my command line and go to Artemis folder, and then I will run, I'm not gonna run the install, I will run upgrade. So I usually use Helm upgrade. So you have option to run the Helm install, and it will actually deploy the application. So in this case, we are not going to do that. We will, in my case, I would like to use the upgrade and then use the dash dash install. So what it does, try to upgrade the Helm chart. If the Helm chart does not exist, create the Helm chart. That's what it does, install. So it will check first the Helm chart is exist or no. If the Helm chart is exist, it will upgrade it. If the Helm chart does not exist, it will install from scratch for you. So, and of course the namespace will deploy to specific namespace. The way it means that when you have a init mode for the containers, you will wait a little bit and make sure that init mode is finished properly, and the values is the values YML file for your Helm chart, and then the directory for the Helm chart. So this is how you deploy the Helm chart from with the upgrade command. So let me run that command, and for this example it didn't work. We have to specify the name, in this case Artemis. I missed Artemis name for the Helm chart. So as soon as I run it, you can see that release Artemis does not exist installing now. This argument is helping us to install the Helm chart. If you don't specify this, it will fail. Your command is not going to work. So if you remember, we specified on deployment on the values.yml replicas 3, and it did create the replicas 3 for the deployment. You can see that the pod has been created. So it did create the service, it did create the deployment, it did create the ingress, it did create the pod with the 3 replica set, and you can see that it's referencing to the application URL by running this command. So application is up and running. Only thing is we have to wait a little bit for DNS propagations. So let me clarify, the pod and service and deployment and ingress has been created. Kubernetes get pod -n test, you can see that the 3 Artemis application has been created. If I will run Kubernetes get pod the service -n test, and you can see the service has been created as well. So Kubernetes get ingress -n test, and you can see that the Artemis, the host has been created, the ingress kind has been created. So let me see the logs for the external DNS. So external DNS, you can see that from previous video, it did update our DNS records. If I will go to my Google Cloud provider and check the DNS records, and you can see that external DNS, it did update my DNS records and create Artemis host for me. All right. Only thing what I have to do, and I have to check the the DNS is propagated or not. So I can check from here. As soon as I run it, you can see that it's very fast and did update DNS hosts propagation. It did happen. As soon as I refresh it, and the application up and running, and it is HTTPS. Within the 2 minutes, I did deploy the application using Helm and without any problem. Only thing what I have to do, I have to just properly configure it and deploy it. It did deploy it. Everything is up and running, and it is running inside the test namespace. All right. So I will put all descriptions, everything what needs to be done from your side, and I will I will push this codes to GitHub. You should be able to clone this repository and use it for future references. All right, I'll leave your comment and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video. Bye bye.